Now we are moving to the third box of our operative human resource management. This means maintenance. We maintain, we take care for the persons who are hired now after recruitment and selection to support their personal growth and development over the time. As change is a fact of organizational life, we have to cope with it effectively, and therefore we have planned programs for employee training and development. As change is a fact of organizational life, we are anticipating the change proactively through activities in human resource development. This could be changes within the human resources themselves. It could be structural changes and could be structures caused by the strategy. So this means we are approaching activities, changes in technology, because we need more highly skilled workers, or structural changes which are caused through mergers, acquisition, or rapid growth, or downsizing, or outsourcing. We are approaching changes because the educational level of our workers differ. We have also changes taking place within the human resources, that we have a diversity or diverse workforce, and we are working more in groups. And we have also the changes based on the strategy, because the strategy then gives a focus on quality improvement or innovation, and this we have then to consider in hiring, in training, in performance management. Well, here on the slide you have the basic concept of human resource development. The basic concept of human resource development starts with the company's strategy. Based on the company's strategy, you analyze the company's requirements. Remember, we talked about HR planning. As a second step, we analyze the competencies and the goals of our staff members. And having both information, we compare both information in a third step. The third step, we use HRD instruments to see what we need and what is available, and based on this we decide activities. The activities, of course, are decided then together with the staff member, which takes place in a development discussion, because it's important that the goals which the employees have are in line with our activities. So then we can decide either to start a training for the staff member, or we start a development activity with the person. And at the end, on step number 6, we analyze the results and integrate them in a step number 7 in our information system. I would like to use the definition which you can read here, that a training is an activity or is designed to provide learners with the knowledge and skills needed for their present jobs. This means that training consists of planned programs designed to improve the performance of individual, group, and organizational levels. Improved performance in turn implies that there have been measurable changes in knowledge, skills, attitude, and/or social behaviors. This is what we call competencies. On this slide, we have another definition or other definitions which I took out from another book. They differentiate between learning, training, education, development, self-directed learning, and lifelong learning. Mr. Casco said in his 2013 book that there are several trends suggest that time and money budgeted for training will increase during the next decade. This includes technology and e-commerce, continuing workers' displacement as a function of merger, acquisition, and downsizing, and the ongoing shift from manufacturing to service jobs. Young generations like the generation X and Y, the most important feature they are looking for in a new job is the opportunity for continuous learning. From the perspective of organizations, survey indicated a strong desire for employees who can plug and play. This is perform with minimal on-the-job training. Unfortunately, only 11% of employers report that they have found such recruits. Technology, especially information and communication technology, is changing the manner in which businesses create and capture values, how and where we work, and how we interact and communicate. Technologies such as cloud or mobile computing, big data and machine learning, sensors and intelligent manufacturing, advanced robotics and drones, and clean energy technology are transforming the very foundation of global businesses and the organization that drive it. Today, many organizations employ workers from a variety of labor market sources. Labor market intermediaries facilitate such employment arrangement. So today we have free time, free agents, we have freelancers, we have people who are hired through social media to outplacement firms, etc., etc. So this means that we have no longer assume that everybody who works at a given organization is an employee of that organization. Traditionally, employees receive classroom instruction and on-the-job training opportunities as they moved through jobs and hierarchical levels in an organization. In the on-demand economy, however, individuals may be employed for limited periods of time by many organizations as they work on tasks, microtasks, and projects. We talked already about employer brands. Employer brands are very important because they simplify the choice. It is shown that it not only simplifies the choice, it increases trust, reduce risk, and promise a particular level of values. Employers compete in talent market, and employers' brand play a critical role in recruitment and retaining talent. As more firms move to employee involvement and teams in workplace, team members need to learn behaviors such as asking for idea, offering help without being asked, listening and providing feedback, and recognizing and considering the ideas of others. It is seen that there are two groups responsible for the success of a training: the organization and the individual. The organization, because the organization has to create an atmosphere that will support and encourage change, and the individual is responsible for deriving maximum benefit from the learning opportunity provided. This may involve the acquisition of new information, skills, attributes, or patterns of social behavior through training and development. Retraining can pay off too. A study of the work in American Institute found that retraining current workers for new jobs is more cost effective than firing them and hiring new ones, not to mention the differences that retraining makes to employees' morale. Some businesses, small and large, shy away from training because they think that by upgrading the skill of workforce, their employees will be more marketable to competitors. That is true. However, there is also an increasing paradox that affects both employees and employer. That is, if an employee takes charge of her own employability by keeping her skills updated and varied so that she can work for anyone, she also builds more security with her current employer, assuming the company values highly skilled, motivated employees. This is the training paradox. To ensure that a firm's training and development investment has the maximum impact possible, a strategic and systematic approach should be used that involves 4 phases. A needs assessment based on the firm's competitive objectives. What training does the firm really need? Program design. Given those needs, how should the training program best designed or structured? Implementation. Phase number 3. How should the program be delivered? That is, by what method? Evaluation is phase number 4. How can the firm tell if the training program is really working? The need assessment consists of 3 phases: an organization analysis, a task analysis, and a person analysis. For an organization analysis, the HR personnel typically collect data such as information on the quality of goods or services that they provide, absenteeism, turnover, and the number of accidents to determine what type of training is needed. The availability of potential replacements and the time required to train them are important factors in organization analysis. Other issues such as technological change, globalization, quality improvement, and employee empowerment initiative, and mergers and acquisition and restructuring necessitate training. Conducting an organization analysis also involves closely examining a firm's resources, the technical, financial, and human, available to conduct the training. The second step in training needs assessment is task analysis. Task analysis involves reviewing the job description and specification to identify the activities performed in a particular job and the competencies needed to perform them. For a firm's current job, this situation can generally be drawn from a job analysis. If the job is new or jobs are changing, the first step in a task analysis is to list all the tasks or duties included in the job. The second step is to list the steps performed by the employee to complete each task. The type of performance for each task, for example, manipulation, speech, or discrimination, along with the skills and knowledge or competencies necessary to do it, can be identified. In today's fast-changing environment, jobs are changing quickly. So instead of focusing on the fixed sequence of tasks, more firms are finding that their employees need more flexible set of competencies to adapt, to help the firm adapt to changing conditions. A competency assessment focus on the set of skills and knowledge employees need to be successful, particularly for decision-oriented and knowledge-intense jobs. The next analysis is a person analysis. This involves determining which employee requires training and, equally important, which do not. This helps organizations avoid the mistake of sending all employees into training when some do not need it. Between 2017 and 2019, I worked in Jordan with the Water Authority in Jordan to develop a method to analyze the training needs of the organization. So we had 3 pilots and we used different methods to analyze the gaps between what is required and what is available and what kind of, on which level the competencies are available and necessary. And then based on this analysis, on this gap analysis, we defined training objective for each employee based on the need, on his or her needs and the needs of the organization. Once we have assessed the firm's training needs, the next step is to design the training program. Experts believe that the design of the training program should focus on at least 4 relevant issues: the training's instructional objectives, the readiness of the trainees and their motivation, the principle of learning, and the characteristics of instructor. Based on the gained information from the training needs analysis, you are starting to write down the desired outcomes of a training. And these are called the instructional objective. It is important to describe them very clearly so it is easy to see if they were achieved or not. Two preconditions for learning affect the success of those who are to receive training: readiness and motivation. Readiness means where the trainees or the future trainees are ready to absorb the training. Do they have the necessary knowledge to or skills necessary to absorb them? And therefore it's very important to analyze this before. Most employees are motivated by training opportunities that allow them to develop their skills and advance their careers. Nowadays, employees differ from one another in the respective importance of these needs at a given time. For example, new college graduates often have a high desire for advancement, and they have established a specific goal for career progression. This may be less the case for older employees nearly retirement. The principles of learning list characteristics of training programs that help employees grasp new material, take sense of it in their own lives, and transfer it back to their job. To make training more effective, there are these principles should be considered, and one of the principles is goal setting. This means that the trainer should take the time to explain the training goals to the trainees, or when trainees are encouraged to set their own goals. Training gets more effective when the trainer uses simple and understandable terminology or very colorful examples. That helps much. As well as a picture is worth 1,000 words. To learn how to ride a horse would be much easier to watch someone to do it than try yourself only with a picture or by reading a book. What is also very much important is to consider the differences between the learners, because some people, they absorb information better through pictures, and other persons are more verbal learner. They learn better to spoken words, and therefore it's important to deliver the material in different ways, not only in one way. I think most of the points here on this slide are very clear. Just one remark about the last issue. What do you think, which training would be more effective if the training if the trainee be giving training in 5 2-hour periods or in 10 1-hour periods? What do you think? To answer the question from the last page, I would like to say that it has been found out in most cases the spacing out of the training will result in faster learning and longer retention. This is the principle of distributed learning. Very many companies found it out that nothing more than words of encouragement and feedback are needed to strengthen employees' behavior. However, more tangible rewards such as prizes, awards, or ceremonies can help reinforce desired behavior. The success of any training effort will depend in large parts on the training skills and the personal characteristic of those responsible for conducting the training. Here you can find different methods which are differentiated according to the time, the type of training they are, and the place. Into the job means that people are joining the company for a certain time and they get trained. This means, for example, vocational education, which is in Germany approximately 3 years, or trainee programs. Trainee programs are for university graduate joining the company for a certain period and receiving training. On-the-job training is a method by which employees are given hand-on experience with instructions from their supervisors or other trainers. Off-the-job means that it takes place outside, very often outside of the company or outside of the workplace. So this could be lectures or seminar or conferences. Besides getting new information, it's important because they bring groups and people together. This is also the case in corporate universities where the different members of a company get to know each other. It could also include outdoor training. Near the job means not the task related to the job you are doing, but they are for a certain period additional activities be done. For example, in quality circles. Quality circles, people share knowledge between the different departments, improve the communication between the different sections and the hierarchies, and improve the responsibility of each staff member related to the job. This means also business games or working out loud. These are self-organized learning activities which are done in groups. Along the job means that you get assignments parallel to your normal job, that you will be the deputy of your boss for a certain period. This helps you to identify if you are able to do it and it is what you want to do or not. It should remind you a little bit to the point when we talk about job enrichment. Out of the job means that you prepare people for retirement. It could be also outplacement. Outplacement is a service which is offered by organizations from outside, helping companies to get people they don't need anymore into new jobs outside of the company. But what mix of this training is recommended? Very often you can hear the 70-20-10 rule. So this is what is recommended to be very successful. And 70 means 70% of the training should be organized on the job, 20% near to the job, and only 10% off the job. There are different methods to assess the extent to which a firm's training program improve learning, affect behavior on the job, and impact the bottom line performance on an organization. The four basic criteria are reaction, learning, behavior, and results. Federal Express took this approach to evaluate learning. The company studied 20 van drivers who attended a week-long new hire training program. The company then compared the performance of these drivers with a control group of 20 drivers who had received only on-the-job training. FedEx found out that the drivers who had been formally trained made fewer package processing errors, saving the company about $500 per trained driver. Human resource managers are under pressure from top management to show that their training programs produce bottom-line results. Most organizations today measures their training in terms of its return on invest, which is also sometimes referred to as the utility the firm gets from its training dollars. Behaviors measures what the trainee is really doing at the end on his job. How does it affect his performance, for example? But this has to do not only with that he is willing to do it, but he is also allowed to do it. So therefore, it's also important that the management support this very much and gives the employee the opportunity to practice what he learned before.